to the Gambling Parlor here on Dead Money Sports. It's your host, Jesse, back with you. And we are here for the Week 16 Early Line Show. Coming to you on Monday prior to the Monday Night Football matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are on the Dolphins plus 3.5. Currently sitting at 2-2 in Week 15 of our Circa Million picks. Not the best results. Really needed to at least go 4-1, potentially 5-0 in order to maintain a possibility of finishing in the money. But if we get this win tonight, we'll at least have a winning week and be on the outside looking in with 3 weeks to go and a dark horse possibility of making the money. But we're going to get into the Week 16 matchups that we like, and there are some big games this week, starting with the Thursday night football game. We've got an NFC West matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, two teams that are vying for the number one spot and the NFC West division title. Both teams sitting at 11-3, with the Rams holding the tiebreaker right now. And this game could also have an effect on the what could happen with the San Francisco 49ers, who are sitting at 10-4, number 6 in the wild card right now. And very well, if they win out and things go their way, could potentially win the NFC West and the number one seed as well. So all types of huge playoff ramifications riding on this Thursday night football game. We've also got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. This is the second of these two meeting. Green Bay winning that first one in Lambeau in a very tight contested game. They won by 7. The line was 6.5 in that game. This is going to be a different game, though. Green Bay Packers have lost several key players, including Micah Parsons, Wyatt, their great defensive tackle, and Watson may not play this week as well, who's really come on strong since his return from injury. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Carolina to take on the Panthers. This is an NFC South division leading game here. Whoever wins this game will be in first place. Right now, the Bucs are in first place because the Saints were unable to get, the Panthers were unable to get the victory over the Saints on Sunday after the Bucs lost to the Falcons on Thursday Night Football. So that's a matchup that has playoff implications in it. One team will make the playoffs, one team probably won't. Whoever wins the division's in, the loser is not making the wild card. Then we've got Jacksonville taking on Denver. Two teams on win streaks, two teams leading their divisions. The Broncos are currently trailing. Are they? No. The Broncos are currently in first place at 12-2 for the number one seed, but the Los Angeles Chargers sitting at 10-4. They're not completely out of a possibility of catching them for the division title. We've got Pittsburgh and Detroit. Pittsburgh plays tonight. Obviously, the outcome of this game will have a much more factor into whether or not how much this game means. And Detroit also lost against the Rams. That was a tough game. We were on Detroit. They lost by 7. The line was 6. That was a tough one to take. They're still alive, but both teams could be on the outside looking in after this week. The Lions already are. The Steelers could lose their spot as the AFC North leader, although they do have the tiebreaker over the Ravens, so they should remain in the lead. But that's a big game. We've got the New England Patriots taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the Patriots lost in that big comeback by the Bills, and the Ravens were able to take care of business on the road against Cincinnati. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and the Patriots are trying to not only maintain their lead in the AFC East, but also potentially catch the Broncos for that number one seed. And then on Monday Night Football, We've got the San Francisco 49ers, who I mentioned are in a tight race for the NFC West and could potentially make the number one seed if things break their way. And an Indianapolis Colts team that is just on a downward slide now. They're 8-6. They're in 8th position. They have an outside chance of making the playoffs. They would probably be the 7th seed, all depending on what happens with Houston and Jacksonville. But it doesn't get much easier now with them. Their schedule is really tough down the stretch. They've got this Monday night game against San Francisco, a team that's playing well. Then they've got to play the Jags. Then they've got to play the Texans. So there's a real chance after starting 7-1, the Indianapolis Colts may not make the playoffs. But as it stands right now, the game on Monday night does have meaning for both teams. So both teams will be playing their best. It will be Phillip Rivers. The Indianapolis Colts head coach has already announced that Phillip Rivers will be making the start on Monday Night Football. He'll have another week of preparation. Wasn't a very good offensive showing. The defense played well, though, holding the Seattle offense to, I think, 6 field goals in that game. And they had a real chance to win that one if the defense could have just made one stop at the end of the game. They took the lead, but just couldn't hold it against the Seattle Seahawks, who needed that win just to maintain their position in the NFC West division fight that they're in with the Rams and the 49ers. But let's go ahead and take a look at these lines for Week 16. And the first game that we've got is the Rams and Seahawks. As we mentioned, that is a pick'em right now. And the total is 44. Now, the Rams lost Devontae Adams. It doesn't look like he's going to be available, but Nakua, I believe, will be available. So that's a plus, because if they lost both of those guys, that could have been a real tragedy for this matchup where, you want both teams to be at full strength so we get the best version of both teams and see who's the better of the two teams. You don't want, the Rams going in with a bunch of, bench guys playing at wide receiver, because it's just not the game that we want to see. Now, the Rams haven't had much success on Thursday night. I believe they played the 49ers at home and lost. But now they're going up against Seattle. I like the Rams in this one. I know some people are going to look at Devontae Adams being out as an issue, and it is an issue, but they got Tutu Atwell back. We saw their tight end Parkinson, contribute with a big catch for what was a touchdown that basically was the deciding factor in that game against Detroit. In Seattle, their offense has been looked broken. I mean, yes, JSN had a big day, with yards and receptions, but they couldn't get it in the end zone. And that was against, a team they should have been able to handle pretty easily, with the Colts secondary missing Sauce Gardner. They're not really known for their pass rush. They're more of a run-stopping defense, but they really played well and put the clamps down on the Seattle offense. And we've seen Darnold over the last few weeks has really been turnover-prone. He has not been playing very good football. It's been the defense that's essentially been leading the charge for this Seattle team, and I think they could get caught sleeping here. Well, I don't know say about sleeping. Obviously, it's an important game, but they could get caught by this Rams defense that's just playing lights out, and the Rams offense that's just playing so efficiently with their run and pass. McVay's really scheming it up. He's really just in his bag, as they say, with the play designs and using the personnel he has available. And we've seen Devontae Adams come back from injuries quicker than normal before. I wouldn't count on it with just a short week and the way he looked on the field. But you never know. But even still, I think Nakua as their number one, Tutu Atwell as your number two, and then them using 12 personnel could really lead this LA Rams offense to have a good day. We know McDonald is better against the spread on the road than he is at home. Two good defenses. and two offenses that were playing well, but I think Seattle is on a downward trajectory. Darnold has not been playing well. I think the Rams' pressure can get to him, and we've seen when Darnold is pressured, he is prone to committing turnovers. So I am taking the LA Rams in our Thursday night football matchup. But this will not be on the card. I know I said last week I wouldn't use Atlanta, and I ended up using them, but that was because I just really liked that spot for the Falcons. But it ended up costing me because I put the picks in early, and had I not done that, I wouldn't have had Cincinnati because I was expecting T. Higgins to play, and he did not play. And that was just a totally one-sided victory by Baltimore. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out. Lets me know that you want me to continue making this content, and it lets the algorithm know to promote the channel. I need to unlock the subscribers. I need more subscribers so I can unlock some of the things I can do with this channel. Now we've got two Saturday games. And the first one, the afternoon, or the first game, the late game. The first game is actually Philadelphia and Washington. Philly has shut down Jaden Daniels. They're going to use Marcus Mariota as their starting quarterback for the rest of the year. Obviously, they're protecting their quarterback, and, they're not really looking to win any more games. Trying to secure the best draft spot they can get in the upcoming draft. Philly is a 6.5-point favorite now. The total sitting at 44.5. I like Philadelphia to win this game, and I like them to cover the spread. But again, I don't think this one will be making the card. But I do think Philly is just a much better team. Although the offense for Washington hasn't looked bad. I will say that. They haven't looked bad. With McLaurin back, with Deebo Samuel back, they're able to throw the ball downfield. So this could potentially be an over game. Philly hasn't really been an offensive juggernaut this year. They did put up some points, but that was against a really bad Raiders team. It was a one-sided game. But we knew the Raiders. They were bad. Kenny Pickett obviously was not very good if he couldn't even beat out Geno earlier in the year for the starting role, and we saw that. We saw that in the game against the Eagles. But the Eagles could get it rolling, though. Like, this is one of those games for them where everything went right, and it could really just boost the morale. This team now pretty much has locked down the NFC East division title. They win this game, they do lock down the NFC East title, because they would have to lose out and Dallas would have to win out their last three games in order to catch Philadelphia, and I just don't see that happening. Philly plays Washington twice over the next 3 weeks. Then they've got Buffalo sandwiched in the middle of that. They need to take care of business. I think they do take care of business. I don't think Washington is very interested in winning games. What you're going to see is a team that will compete for about 3 quarters, and then come fourth quarter, they're going to take their foot off the throttle and not look to win these games. Keep it competitive, but not win the game, because they know that they get a better draft pick with every loss from here on out. They're definitely tanking. Be careful of teams that are in a position to be tanking. They're telling you they're tanking by sitting their healthy starting quarterback for the rest of the year. So I like the Eagles here. I like the over as well. Green Bay and Chicago. Now, this is a game that has huge playoff implications. Green Bay has already won the first matchup head-to-head. We were on them minus 6.5. We got the win. They won by 7, but that was a very tight game. This is not the same Green Bay team that was in that one. Christian Watson being out is a big loss for Green Bay. And then obviously losing Micah Parsons on top of losing Wyatt, their defensive lineman, just a 1-2 punch against this Green Bay team, a team that many people had rated as maybe the number 2 team in the NFL behind the Los Angeles Rams. But you take away Micah Parsons, you take away a huge contributor, then you take away Wyatt, one of their great run stuffers. I really like Chicago here. I like Chicago at home, getting 1.5. I would take them on the money line. I wouldn't even take the points here. I just think Chicago is going to be able to run the ball. I think we saw something from the Denver Broncos defense, what you can do if you can get pressure on Jordan Love. Now, Chicago doesn't get much pressure on the quarterback. That is a concern because when you give Jordan Love time to throw, he will find the open man. I just don't know what we're going to get from this Green Bay defense down two of their best players against a Chicago Bears offense that is really humming. Their head coach has got this running game really fired up. Caleb Williams is playing well. He's playing loose. They're really designing the offense to maximize his abilities and the abilities of their receivers because they do have some good guys in DJ Moore and Adunze and Loveland, Komet. They've got some guys to throw the Thornton. I'm not sure if he got hurt or not, but they've got some guys on Chicago's offense. And I just really think that this running game for Chicago might be able to just match up against Green Bay now that they're down some of their key players. So I'm leaning, well, no, I'm not leaning. I'm taking Chicago. I have, and I've mentioned it before, if you're not going to use more than one game on these weekend slates where we've got Thursday, Saturday, and then on Christmas we've got 3 games on the Christmas day. If you're not going to use more than one team on these early games, it really doesn't benefit you to submit early. Now, obviously, these games on Saturday, the picks are due. I'm in Nevada. Picks are due by 4 p.m. Pacific time. I have until, the deadline to put them in. So only one of these games will have started. The early game will have started before the picks are due. I don't know. I might end up using some games early. We're going to have to double check and see exactly what the injury reports are. But if we're pretty clear about who's going to be available for Thursday. We're pretty clear who's going to be available for Saturday. We're going to have to take a look at this. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. We need to find some spots also where could try to get some points in games that aren't going to be very popular, like the Atlanta game on Thursday night, where there was less than 200 entries on the Atlanta game. And then also we had, for the second week in a row in the Millions contest, we had 2 teams from the same game in the top 5. Last week it was Green Bay and Chicago. We were on Green Bay. We got the win. This past week it was Green Bay and Denver. We were on Denver. We got the win. There was 1,169 entries on Green Bay and 1,167 entries on Denver. There was only 2 more entries on Green Bay than there was on Denver, with over 1,000 selections on both. So good lines by the bookmakers there. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. I'll know more on Thursday if we're going to release, or if we're going to use the Thursday night game. We'll obviously release the picks early like I did last week, but I doubt it. More than likely I won't use that one. I'm going to want to watch the Thursday night game as a fan. Maybe have a bet on the Rams, but I don't think it'll make the card. But Chicago certainly could. I really like Chicago in this spot. Then we move on to the Sunday slate, and we've got some good games and some not so good games. Look at the lines this week. Last week we had 5 games where it was a double-digit spread, if you include the 9.5 with Houston over the Cardinals, which they covered that number. But if you look now, we've only got 1, 2. We've only got 2 games with point spreads in double digits. Meanwhile, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 games with a spread of four or less. So these are some really tight lines this week, really making you have to pick one side or the other because there's none of that maybe cover the spread but not win the game this week. You're going to have to know which team you want to win the game and cover the spread. Buffalo and Cleveland. The line is 10. The total's 42.5. I expect Buffalo to win this game. Will they cover the 10? I don't know. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, he looks like a rookie quarterback. What do you expect? Meanwhile, the defense, when they lost Malik Collins in the middle, that really hurt their defense. They're not really looking like the incredible defense we saw earlier in the season. Myles Garrett looks like he's only trying to get the sack record, and then once he gets the sack record, who knows what kind of effort you'll get out of them, as obviously they can only play spoiler at this point. Guys are just looking to get out of these games without getting injured. It is in Cleveland where the defense has played better historically over their last few seasons, and especially this year. This is just an ugly game. I expect Buffalo to win. Will they win by more than 10? They could. The total's only at 42.5, so they're expecting a defensive matchup, but I don't think so. I actually think that this is an over game. I would take the over 42.5, 42 if you can find it, because not only do I think Buffalo will be able to score, but I think the Cleveland Browns will have some scoring opportunities. We saw some big runs by the New England Patriots against this Buffalo team, and we've seen this Buffalo team get down in games and then have to come back. They allow teams to score. I think the running game for Cleveland, they could potentially break off a couple of big plays, Shedeur scrambling, maybe a deep shot, some penalties, that move the ball downfield, give them some points here. So I would take the over 42. In this one. New York Jets and New Orleans, just gross games. I mean, there's a bunch of really good games this week, and there's also some really just games you don't want anything to do with. New Orleans, now they've won 3 in a row, right? 2 straight up wins, 3 covers, as they covered against Miami, but they didn't win, and they had every opportunity to win that one. New York Jets, who the hell knows what you're getting from them? I like New Orleans to win the game. The Jets, the few games where they've actually been competitive is when they've had non-offensive scores. Their offense, I mean, they did score some. They did move the ball. I don't think they did much offensively in that game, though. Yeah, I mean, they scored 20 points against the Jags. A lot of that, it was an early touchdown, and they only got 2 field goals, and then a late garbage time touchdown when the game was out of reach. Meanwhile, I mean, the New Orleans defense has not been bad, right? I mean, their defense has been good. Shuck is playing okay. I would take Shuck over whoever's playing quarterback for the Jets, their rookie guy. So give me New Orleans minus the 4. It's probably too many points, though. I know a lot of people are going to be riding on them after this hot streak they've been on, but it won't be on the card, I can tell you that much. 40 is the total. This game looks like an under here. I'll take 40, under 40.5. Give me the under 40.5 for this game. I don't know how much. I don't think I'll be involved in the side, as I think this number may be a little too much for New Orleans. Now all of a sudden they're a favorite. Minnesota and the Giants, another disgusting game. But the Minnesota offense has found something. J.J. McCarthy is at least playing competent football. They won that game easily against Washington 2 weeks ago. right? And then they beat the Dallas Cowboys in prime time. Looked pretty good doing it too. Defense played well against a good Dallas passing offense. Meanwhile, you've got the New York Giants coming in. We don't know what we're going to get from them. Who's playing quarterback? Is Jackson Dart going to have another concussion? So I like Minnesota minus the 3 here. I know it's probably going to be the popular side, but they're the better team, better defense, better offense. Quarterbacks, I would call it a wash. Better coaching with Minnesota. So give me the Minnesota Vikings minus the 3 in this one. New England and Baltimore, big game. Big game. And now the Baltimore Ravens are a consensus at minus 3. It was plus 2.5. Now it's plus 3. I like New England. And they've made the top 5. They could make the top 5 for sure. I know they've played a weaker schedule, but they are a good team. And Vrabel's a great coach. He understands how to scheme his team to match the opponent. I think Baltimore got very fortunate in that game against Cincinnati. Cincinnati moved the ball on them, and then Joe Burrow just completely crapped the bed with 2 turnovers while they were in scoring position, and then also taking a sack on 3rd down when they would have been able to potentially kick a field goal if he just threw the ball away. So it really cost them points in that one. That game could have been closer. I mean, they were potentially getting it within 1 score when he threw the pick 6 down there in the red zone. So I don't know. I think New England's offense is way better than what we saw from Cincinnati. Their coaching is better. Their defense is better. I like Gonzalez. I like the secondary. And I really like special teams for New England. New England special teams is an unheralded aspect of their winning streak. I don't think people are really recognizing how important their kick returning and special teams play has been. But I like New England plus the 3. This could very well make the top 5. It probably will make the top 5 selections for Circa. Total 48. They're expecting some points. I don't think so. Give me the under. Give me the under. I think New England clamps down on the run game. They're not going to let him throw the ball. Lamar Jackson has not looked like himself scrambling. He did play well against he didn't play well against Baltimore. Honestly, Baltimore's defense was really holding him in check for most of that game. You saw them kind of wave the white flag when the offense kept turning the ball over, and that's when the running game for Baltimore was really able to wear down a Cincinnati Bengals team that essentially just said, all right, we're done. So give me New England plus the 3 and the under 48 in that one. NFC South division matchup could have very serious implications for the division. It was Tampa Bay minus 3. It's now consensus or minus 2.5. It's now minus 3. I like Tampa Bay in this one. It's moved from minus 2.5 to minus 3. I liked it better at minus 2.5, but the fact that money's coming in on Tampa, 79% of the tickets, only 57% of the money. I think Tampa, the Thursday night games, they're just weird. They really had that game in check. If they recover the Mooney fumble, the game's over. There's like 5 Tampa Bay guys around it, and somehow Newsel, the offensive lineman, goes in and gophers and pulls out the ball. Otherwise, that game's a wrap. Not only does Tampa Bay win that game, we don't get the cover, as the spread was 5.5, and I believe at that time Tampa was winning by 8. I want to say, so they would have covered the spread had they just recovered that fumble. The offense is going to be better. The offensive line is still good. The running backs are still good. Their receivers are good. They're going to have Mike Evans back for another week. That's Evans, Godwin, Sterling, Tez Johnson, Will Kate Otten be back? I just think this offense is going to be able to pummel this mediocre to below average Carolina defense. Tampa did lose one of their key guys in the secondary, McCollum, but I think they'll be able to match up. Carolina's got some good receivers. They can run the ball halfway decent, but Tampa Bay's calling card for most of their year, most of the time with Todd Bowles, is being able to stop the run. I think this is a game where you see them really stiffen up against the run, take away the play action for Bryce Young and this Carolina offense, and I think they really come out with a team possessed to get the lead and a commanding lead in the NFC South. So give me Tampa Bay minus the 3. Total sitting at 45.5. That seems about right, so I won't get involved with the total, but I do like Tampa Bay here. Kansas City and Tennessee. Boy, how the mighty have fallen. You know, it's one thing for Kansas City to get eliminated from the playoffs. It was bound to happen eventually, right? They couldn't continue to just be that dominant year after year. I mean, we saw it with the New England dynasty. I think they went like 10 years without winning a Super Bowl, right? They had three and 4 years, and then they went like 10 years before they won another one, even though they were in the playoffs and, you know, in the AFC Championship games. They just couldn't get over the hump. It happens. They get old, all that extra wear and tear on your body playing late into the season year after year, and life, you know, all the outside things they got going on with their players is bound to happen. But losing Patrick Mahomes to a torn ACL, that's just brutal, because that's one of those injuries that takes like 10 months to heal. And we've seen quarterbacks, when they come back from an ACL injury, normally aren't themselves for that first season. It takes almost another season to be back to normal, because they've got to get, you know, trust in that structural support in their leg. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, we know he likes to use his legs when necessary. Will we see the scrambling ability be the same? So it's just a sad moment. You know, it'd be one thing for them to just be eliminated from the playoffs. All right, it happens. But for them to lose the best quarterback in football for what's going to be now all of the rest of this year, he's going to be rehabbing all offseason, all preseason, and probably won't even be able to start the season for Kansas City. Just a terrible, terrible situation. Minus 3.5 now, Kansas City on the road against Tennessee. I actually have, who did I pick here? Did I not take a side in this game? That's weird. Oh, no. I have Kansas City winning. You know, Gardner Minshew, still a decent quarterback. They've still got a lot of key pieces on offense for Kansas City. Tennessee, I mean, they've been feisty all year. I said they'll probably cover more spreads than winning games, and that's the case. This is just a game I don't want to be involved in at all, though. I don't want to be involved in it at all. It's just a sad, sad game. And it also takes away from our Christmas slate. They were supposed to play Denver. We were expecting that to be like a meaningful game. Now it has, all Kansas City can do is play spoiler. So I'm not going to take a side in this one. I like Kansas City to win. 3.5. I don't know. And then 37.5 as a total. It's awfully low. Give me the over. Give me the over. Give me the over. I'm sure I'm probably stepping right into it with this one, but I'll take the over 37.5. Again, I don't want anything to do with the side. Who knows? You know, Gardner Minshew, he's feisty. You know, the Uncle Rico, he'll go out there and sling that ball around. LA Chargers in Dallas. Man, this game could have had some really good implications for the playoffs. Now Dallas is basically out of it. They got to win every game and have Philly lose every game, with Philly having a very easy schedule over the next 3 weeks. They got Washington twice and then Buffalo in between those two games with Washington. And they've only got to beat Washington once to lock up the NFC East Division. Dallas can only play spoiler here, but I like Dallas. and I like them a lot. And it's actually now it's -2. It was -1.5. It's now -2. I like Dallas here. I think they're going to upset the Chargers. They got them at home. Chargers offense has not looked great. The offensive line has struggled. The defense has played well for Dallas. I think Quinnen Williams was banged up in that game. We'll have to keep an eye out and see if he's playing. I think he came back in that game. But I think the pass rush for Dallas will be able to put pressure on Herbert. And I think they're going to be able to score points on this Los Angeles Chargers defense. They should be able to throw the ball. I mean, they did not look good versus Philly. And then who they beat up on? Who they won? They beat the Chiefs in a game where Patrick Mahomes went down, and they only won by 3. It was a very ugly game by both teams. I expect Dallas to be able to score points here. I like the Cowboys enough that I put them in my first 5. So give me the Dallas minus the points. Give me the under 49.5, though. I don't think the Chargers are going to score very much. This is like a 28-20 game. 28-20. 27-20. Something like that. So give me Dallas minus the 2. And this one could certainly make our final 5. Atlanta, Arizona. I like Atlanta to win the game. Arizona's been feisty, but we've seen Jacoby Brissett regressing back to who he is. Kirk Chains has played well. The more he plays, the more comfortable he gets. We know Atlanta still can run the ball. They've still got Bijan. It looks like Drake London might be back, which is a huge improvement for their offense. They've had extra time to prepare. Arizona played a very, very physical Houston team. Now they've got to play Atlanta with extra rest after that pummeling by the Texans in their defense. Of course, it's that fishy minus 2.5 line. So this will not be on our card, I can tell you that much. I said that last week about Atlanta, but I can promise you this one will not be on the card. But I do like Atlanta to win this game and cover the 2.5. I would take the over in this game. I think both teams will be able to score some points. Yeah, this has got 28-24, 28-27 even type of vibes to it. So give me Atlanta minus the 2.5. Give me the over 47.5. I prefer the over. I just don't. And Atlanta doesn't have a first-round draft pick, so it's not like they have any reason to tank. I was thinking about that during the Thursday night game when they were down by 2. I'm like, you know what? You've made a good comeback, but don't win the game because you're going to ruin your first-round draft position. They traded their draft pick away last year to move up for James Pierce. So you know what? Go out and win as many games as you can, Atlanta. Arizona's looking to increase their draft spot. They're probably looking to draft a quarterback and move on from Kyler Murray in that insane contract he's got. They've shown that their offense actually is better without him. When your offense is better with Jacoby Brissett than it is with Kyler Murray, I think it's time to move on and invest that money in somewhere else. Jacksonville and Denver, big game. Big game. Both teams in first place in their division. Denver, obviously, the number 1 seed. Got the bye right now. Jacksonville, Houston, hot on their tail. They cannot slip. I like Jacksonville. I like Jacksonville plus the 3 here. I think they're going to end Denver's win streak. They're going to give them their first loss at home. Jacksonville's playing incredible football right now. It looks like Denver may have lost another key defender in Brent Jones, the guy who committed the stupid delay of game penalty, but it looks like he may be out. Did R.J. Harvey roll his ankle? I'm not too sure, but I just like Jacksonville here. I think this is when Denver's win streak's going to come to an end. So I have Jacksonville in my top 5 right now. and it's still +3. So give me the +3 with Jacksonville. 45.5. This could be a low-scoring game. Both defenses will show up in this one. So give me the under. But I like Jacksonville 21-17 in this one. Let me write that down. Yeah, give me Jacksonville plus the 3 and the under 45.5. I really like Jacksonville in this spot. They're playing outstanding football. Their offensive line's blocking well. Denver's defense has played well, but they've been fortunate with turnovers. They were down big in that game against Green Bay and were able to come back, but that may have also had to do with some of the injuries that Green Bay suffered throughout that game. So give me Jacksonville plus the 3. And this one could potentially make my final 5 for week 16 of the Circa Million Contest. Pittsburgh and Detroit. Detroit, 6.5-point favorites at home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's playing tonight still. We have Miami plus the 3.5, so hopefully they lose. And it'll take even more interest off this game. But Pittsburgh would still be leading the AFC North because they won the matchup against Baltimore last week. But I just don't. I think Baltimore's going to eventually catch them and win that division. We may see Tomlin get his 9-8 record, but I don't think they're making the playoffs. In Detroit, they're on life support right now after losing to LA. Both teams I have staying alive. I have big games written down on here for some of them, and I had that one marked, but now I wrote next to it staying alive because both teams are there. This is the John Travolta Saturday Night Fever game, the Bee Gees game. They're staying alive. Whoever can win this game stays alive in the playoff hunt. I like Detroit. I do. Pittsburgh's offense, although they've been scoring points, I don't think they'll be able to take advantage of the depleted Detroit secondary the way like LA was able to. And I think Detroit's offense will be able to move the ball. They really, I couldn't understand the second half game plan. They just completely abandoned the run and were throwing it on every down and just kept on punting the ball back to LA and just I think they gave up like 24 points in the second half. They were winning by 10 points at halftime, Detroit was, and didn't cover the +6. If Jake Bates makes that first field goal of the game, what a difference that turned out to be, right? If he makes that on the first drive, Detroit tried a field goal and he missed. He makes that, it's a different game. It's a 4-point game. But I have Detroit. This won't be on my 5, I don't think. Right now, it's sitting, consensus is 6.5. I'd like it at 6.5 better than 7. If it goes to the full 7, proceed with caution. If you can get it at -6.5, I like Detroit. TJ Watt will probably be back by then. He's not playing tonight, but he'll probably be back by then. That could play a difference in this game, but I just like Detroit to bounce back in this one. Las Vegas and Houston. And the total, 49.5 for that Detroit-Pittsburgh game. It's 50.5. Give me the under. If you can find it that high, give me the under because I don't expect Pittsburgh to do much. You know, I don't expect them to score a lot in this game. It could be, 27-18, something like that. 28-21. That'd be like 49. Be right around that number. So watch the total. But I like Detroit. I like Detroit minus the 6.5. Careful with the 7. And then we've got Las Vegas and Houston. Ugh. I mean, such a gross game. Houston, 14.5-point home favorites against this Las Vegas team. The total's only sitting at 38. So basically they're saying Las Vegas is not going to score any points in this game and Houston's just going to beat them up. And it's probably the case, but 14.5 seems awfully high. So if you have any desire to be involved in this game at all. You probably take the under 38 and a half if you can find it. And sadly, the Raiders would probably be the right side, but I couldn't justify putting real American dollars on the Raiders right now. It's just, I have no desire to want to be involved in this game at all. I mean, you can find it at 15. They're showing 15s at South Point. Or no, Hard Rock, I'm sorry. But still, no thank you. Cincinnati and Miami. If Miami wins tonight, this game has meaning. If Miami does not win tonight, then it's pointless for both teams because neither one of them will even have an opportunity to get in the wild card. Cincinnati all but eliminated, I believe. I think they actually are eliminated now. Yeah, they are officially eliminated. Miami would be 7-7 if they win tonight and have an outside chance of maybe catching one of these three. I doubt it, though, especially with their upcoming schedule. They've got one of the more difficult final schedules. I mean, they play the Steelers. Bengals, all right, they should win that one, but then they got to play the Bucs and the Patriots. Bucs will have to want to win this game, and the Patriots, they could be playing for the number one spot. So they might play all their starters for a full game, which doesn't bode well for Miami and New England late December, early January weather. See how they do tonight. We'll see how they do tonight. But I think I actually have Cincinnati winning this game. I think they might, especially if T. Higgins comes back. Now, he's not practicing as of right now, and maybe they shut him down for the year since they're out of the playoffs. We really saw fundamentals for Cincinnati lacking in that game against Baltimore. A lot of false starts, a lot of illegal formations, procedure, penalties on defense for holding, penalties for defense for pass interference. All those things come down to the fundamentals. And what happens when teams are eliminated from the playoffs? They stop working on the fundamentals. Yeah, they might work on the plays, that they're calling, but they're not working on the most important aspects of the game, lining up, being, accountable on the snap count, not committing penalties on third downs. And that's all the things they were doing against Baltimore that really ended up killing them, even though their offense kept shooting themselves in the foot. So I actually like Cincinnati to win this game. I marked it down, Cincinnati plus 1.5 as one of my 5, but I doubt it'll make it. Now, it all depends on tonight's game and if Miami wins or loses. Or if they win, it's more important. If they lose, I don't think Miami team, I don't think they stay engaged the way they have been over the last few weeks. So it really depends on tonight's game. But as of right now, as it stands, I have Cincinnati plus the 1.5. And in the 49.5 total, take the under 50.5 if you can find it, even better. But I like the under in that game. Man, I keep bumping into this thing. Cincinnati under 50.5. I like that one a lot. I like it much better than the side, and I don't think I'm gonna back Cincinnati even off of last week's performance. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let's X that one out and find something better. We've got a bunch of good games to choose from. We've got much better teams to back than teams that show they're not preparing since they are eliminated. And then the final game, the Monday night game, has some playoff implications. It's definitely significant for San Francisco as they're trying to maintain their spot in the wild card, as well as potentially move all the way up to the number one spot or compete for the NFC West title. So they've got a lot riding on this game. And in Indianapolis, I mean, their season is essentially on the line here because after tonight, they've got 3 games, 2 of them against division rivals that are ahead of them in Jacksonville and Houston. So they've got to win every game they possibly can. Phillip Rivers is starting this game. San Francisco is -6 on the road, and the total is 46.5. I'm going to take the under 46.5 in this one. I don't think either offense is going to be world beaters, especially with what we saw from Phillip Rivers. I mean, his arm, although he was able to get the ball to the receivers, did not look very strong. But the defense, we saw what they did against Seattle's potent passing game. They could certainly do something similar with San Francisco. And San Francisco looks like they might be without Pearsall. Looks like a couple of their guys on offense maybe got injured in that game. And we know the defense hasn't. They've lost a bunch of guys. They've been playing well, but we'll have to see. But give me the under 46.5. Indy obviously stayed within that huge number of whatever it was, 13.5 or more, depending on what number you got. Now they're only +6 at home. But I prefer San Francisco in this one. I have San Francisco winning this game. I think they cover that 6. So give me San Francisco minus the 6 and under 46.5 here. I think Robert Saleh will have a good game plan for Jonathan Taylor. But I doubt that one will make the card as well. As again, there's just better games to choose from. But there you go. That is the early lines for Week 16 as it stands right now. I like New England +3, Tampa Bay -3, Jacksonville +3, Dallas -2. And then I'm also, I like Buffalo over 42.5, New Orleans under 40.5, Minnesota -3, which could get on the card. Kansas City over 37.5. Atlanta over 47.5. I like the under in Jacksonville, under 45.5. I like Detroit -6.5. Houston under 38.5. Cincinnati under 50.5. And San Francisco under 46.5. Well, there you have it, folks. That is the Week 16 early line show. I want to thank everybody for joining me. We'll be live after the conclusion of Monday Night Football for the late night at the lounge. Hopefully, we're celebrating a win by Miami, or at least a cover of the +3.5 to give us a winning week for Week 15 and keep us in contention for a paid position in the Circa Million Contest. Well, to everyone out there, I hope you made some money this weekend. Hopefully, we get this dub tonight. I'll see you on Thursday for that huge Thursday night football game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams, with the NFC West title game on the line, or the title on the line. And then on Saturday, we will have the selection show during the Green Bay Chicago Bears game as well. So to everyone out there, thank you for watching. Let's make some money and take care of yourselves out there. Trying to